Onboarding your clients is often their first experience with you and how your service works. If it's messier than a Love is Blind episode, it's going to give them a bad taste in their mouth around you and the service that you provide. Of course, tech issues are going to happen, but 98% of the time, your onboarding process should be automated and a super easy flow that your client gets what they need pretty much immediately, is added to your softwares, as well as making the process as seamless and quick as possible for your team on the internal end. It shouldn't take your team more than 10 minutes to offer the support on the onboarding or offboarding process. The best way to do that is to implement automations, and today I'm going to show you how to take your onboarding to the next level and provide an unforgettable client experience. If you're new here, I'm Sam. I'm a ClickUp and automation consultant, and I show businesses how to do more with less time. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to learn how to be more efficient in your business. Now let's dive in to get your productivity flowing.
We're talking about onboarding, but I think briefly touching on leads makes a lot of sense. So what I used to do with coaching and my course is I had a one-on-one coaching application, and that's how leads would become more into my sales pipeline. Now I had leads outside of that I would just manually put in here because I was finding them myself and continuing conversations with them. Once they booked or filled in their application, submitted that, they would be dumped into my sales CRM, because at that point they are a much hotter lead and more likely to close. My discovery calls would usually end with me giving them a payment link. And because I went back and forth with that for a little while, sometimes I would send it after via email, but then I ended up doing it on the call toward the end of when I was coaching. Payment would process, and we aren't like making special adjustments for people. The program costs what it costs, and that is what it is. Either they're a good fit for it, or they're not. And 9 times out of 10, the problem isn't how much it costs, it's that you're not getting to the core of their problem if they're saying no. So, and sometimes it's just truly not a good fit for either side, and that's fine too. But we aren't adjusting prices, so that makes it really easy to automate those steps based on the specific payment links that you're giving them. Once the payment went through, an email would be sent to them from Sign Now, which is the contract platform that I used, and that would send them the appropriate contract based on their payment plan / which program they were signing up for. So that part was automated. Once their contract is signed, this is in Zapier. This is the Zaps that I had set up. It would tag them in ConvertKit, which is my bulk email service. And they would get a tag based on what program they were in. I had them for each of my programs, and they were linked to specific contracts. So if they were signing for one-to-one coaching, they would get tagged by that based on signing the one-to-one contract. Then they would get tagged as this. They would get their introductory email. Intro email had everything from what I need from them immediately, what they can expect to receive from their other emails. So as you'll see here, this is just a formatting step so that the name could be put into Trainerize properly. This is the application that I use to give them their training program. So I would let them know in their welcome email that they would also be getting an email from Trainerize, because when they are added to the platform, they send their own email to get them to sign in, etc. They would also, because I did my payments through Thrivecart, they would automatically get added to my course portion of my coaching. And that was just through Thrivecart. So I had my cart and my course in Thrivecart, so it would just dump them in there automatically. There wasn't any need for an additional automation, which is really nice. So they would also get an email from Thrivecart, and this email would just let them know you're going to expect an email from Trainerize, from Thrivecart. If you have any issues with those or can't find them, here's how to reach out about those. This would also include, I need photos, video, whatever, measurements, like fill out this stuff in the Trainerize app. This is what to expect as far as check-ins go. And, I ended up putting safe words in there at one point just because it can be hard for people to express when they're feeling stuck. And before they feel like they're going to ghost you and stop checking in and all of that kind of stuff, I've implemented safe words so that they can feel safe just saying a word if they don't know necessarily how to express how they're feeling in the moment. And I can kind of ask them questions to dig a bit deeper on what might be the problem, what's making them feel off, those kinds of things. So communication, touch points, all of that was in my introductory email. And then in 3 months, I could set an email to say, let's say, look, see this, 3 hours, days. So you could do 90 days. After 90 days, you could have it set where it emails them, asking them about what they think about the program. You could have a form linked in here, asking them, what do you think about the program? Is there anything you would change? And that's a good way to get testimonials. You could put testimonial type questions in there. You could also send a question like, is there anybody that you would refer to my program? Is there anybody that you've seen are you comfortable giving me their contact information? That kind of stuff to keep the referrals flowing. And also in my first email, I always added a note at the bottom, if you bring someone in, you will get this much as a referral bonus, just cash. So all of that is how I implemented my initial onboarding on the external side, how my clients would see it on their end. And then talking about the internal side to make things easier on your side, once the person was changed to status closed 1, this task would be moved over to clients, because we don't want multiple tasks where we're searching for a million things. That's annoying. That's a lot of extra work trying to search and find which task of this person's this specific note was in. We don't want that. We want the same task to follow this person from lead to client. And I do that by automating things like when it's changed to closed 1 through ClickUp automations. When it's changed to closed 1, it moves the task to this list and it puts it in onboarding. Now, I also have an intake form in here. And hopefully someday soon, ClickUp will implement the feature where it will search for existing tasks to merge them itself. But that is not currently a thing. So for now, it's still going to be a manual process that we have to do. Doesn't really take that long. So let's say I moved this person. This person was moved over from the sales CRM, right? Then they import their intake form. You'll know that the names are the same. And what you'll want to do is I'll just make this to show you really quick. And then, this is the intake form. This is the client. We're going to take the intake form, click this, and then we are going to hit the merge task button and then look for the other one that is the other task. So if you notice, they're different task types. This one is a circle and this one is a person. So it's easier to find that way. So I would hit test 1 and then I would hit merge down here. And it would put all of the information that they submitted through their intake form into their main task. So again, everything is still together. Another thing that I really love to do with these is, obviously when this person comes in, it applies a template. So like when this person moves from the sales CRM to clients, it is an automation that they will have a template applied and change the start date. So it will be starting their time with me as a client. That's why the start date changes. And then it'll apply a template. I also have an automation here that will change the due date of subtasks as soon as they are created, so that I know, like, okay, these things need to be done. I can push the date out if I need to at a later time, but as soon as possible, these specific things should be done. And that's specifically for the templates that get added onto these people. So when this person comes over here, like I was saying, they get a template added that includes all of these subtasks, okay? And these will have due dates on them. Like I just said, I have the automation in place. I didn't run this through to create this, so they're not here right now. But normally, if this person was moved over, the due dates would say today. You can set it where it automatically assigns whoever is going to be responsible for them, or you can set it up in a template that automatically has who's responsible. So you can do that through automations or the template section. But it adds all of these tasks for me, and that way I don't miss anything on my end of like making sure they pay their contract or they filled out their contract, and making sure that I send them a message, a welcome message. You can automate the welcome messages. I just have this in here as like a base. And if you want this template, like this entire client and lead tracking template, all of these lists and all of the automations that go with them, I do have that in the description. So make sure you get your hands on that if you want this set up easily. And then all you have to do is go in and customize for, who on your team should be doing these different tasks, due dates for you, whatever makes sense on your end for that. But sending a welcome message, I already automated that. I just have this in here as something that would be nice to do. So this could be removed from my personal onboarding checklist. Introducing to clients, that's always a nice thing to do. And then, creating the program generally, unless it is a like kind of group program type thing that doesn't really change from person to person, then you won't have to do anything for that. You can have it set that Trainerize automatically assigns them to a specific program and automate that as well. And then sending a welcome gift. There are companies that you can connect with that, like when somebody automatically signs up, they'll send a welcome gift. I have talked to like Etsy sellers in the past too, where I'm sure you could set it up where it would send them an email when somebody signs up, and then they prep the gift for you and just charge you and send it through like that. Because since they're small sellers, it would be fairly easy to set that up with somebody, I'm sure. But sending a welcome gift is always a nice touch. Once they're onboarded, they're a current client. We have check-in task here. They might stay with you forever. They might offboard at some point, but this is a similar thing like where once it's moved to offboarding, it is an automation where a template is applied. Subtasks will automatically get populated for you to complete. When they're moved to past client, which will happen every now and again, it will automatically add on a subtask where it'll be a 3-month check-in. You will have to set the date on this based on when 3 months would be, or you could set it where you set an automation. So the automation where they're changed to past client, we create a subtask from that 3-month check-in, right? Then I set the status to onboarding only because if I change it to past client, it will show as done, and then it won't show up on my to-do list, and we want that. So onboarding is really not that big of a deal. You can add a description if you want. You could set days after trigger date. So you would change the person to past client. This subtask gets created and it sets the due date for 3 months or 90 days after you change that person to past client. So it can automate that for you, or you can set it yourself, whatever you want to do. And I would recommend adding an assignee here for whoever's going to handle that check-in with them. And that's pretty simple. So a ton of stuff and reminders is automated for you. You could even automate the 3 months check-in. So you could have it set where you could set up a Zap where somebody changes this to past client. It pulls that information from ClickUp and adds a tag to that person in ConvertKit, whatever your email software is. That tag connects them to an email sequence that continues to nurture them after them becoming a past client, where it will send them, send me a testimonial. It will send them 3-month check-in, like how are you doing, email. And if you're using like a higher level platform as well, it could send them texts too. But that's much higher level. That's like, once you start getting into like close to millions as your revenue mark, that's when you start implementing text a little bit more. The only thing with setting up an automated check-in is anybody that you move to past client will then be put through that process, even if you realized through working with them that they weren't a good fit. So that is something to kind of note. Hopefully most of your people are good fits and you would love to keep in touch with them and potentially bring them back as a client. But I'm sure every once in a while there is that person. Now you could always have them start the automation and then you can just go in and take them out of that email sequence, or like remove the tag from them, or add a tag to them that makes them not a fit. So it removes them from multiple different areas that you might continue marketing to them. So you wouldn't even have to handle this task. I do think it's a good idea to like manually check in on your people every once in a while if you're trying to bring people back in. But you could automate the 3-month check-in. Really going to save you so much time in the long run.
Let me know in the comments if there's something from this video that you're going to implement today, and I will catch you in the next one.